Reunion night in Regina. Old teammates meet again for the first time as opponents. Charleston Hughes, one of the great Stampeders of all time, who'd love to add the name of one quarterback to his sack resume, Bo Levi Mitchell, an incredible 62-2-2 as a CFL starter. They meet tonight at Mosaic on the CFL on TSN as we have the finale coming up of Week 7. Welcome to it. Rod Smith along with the panel of Jim Barker, Matt Dunnigan, and Milt Stegall for the 5-0 Calgary Stampeders and the 3-2 Saskatchewan Roughriders. These two teams don't need any extra reason to hate each other. That's been going on for a while, but we do have some added reasons. Jim, what has you most intrigued about this matchup tonight?
Well, I can't wait to see what Chris Jones is going to do to Dave Dickinson. And vice versa. I just love that matchup. And Chris is, I know how he is. He has not slept the whole week. All he's doing is looking for little things that he can get to maybe give his team a little advantage. And that to me is going to be the most fascinating part of this ball game.
Can you protect Bo? Can you protect Bo against that scheme of Chris Jones? And does he have mobility to elude the pressure that I believe is going to happen from the Saskatchewan Roughriders? I think this is going to be a really close football game, and it's going to be lights out. And I just hope Bo, his knee is healed to the point where, Milt, he can move around a little bit better than he did last week.
Well, one person who's trying to get Bo, and Rod, you talked about this, Charleston Hughes. 105 sacks in his career. He sacked 29 different quarterbacks, but there's one he hasn't been able to sack because he's been on his team for the last 6 years, and that's Bo Levi Mitchell. He's definitely coming after him, but I guarantee you Derek Dennis and the rest of that offensive line, they're going to prevent it. They're going to do their best job to prevent it. They're only giving up 6 sacks, so for Willie Jefferson and Charleston Hughes and Zach Evans, they're going to have to come with their game today if they want to get after Bo.
Yeah, I remember that matchup between Derek Dennis last year when Dennis was with Saskatchewan.
Yes,
Charleston Hughes with the Stampeders, and Charleston had a big day on that one. Looking forward to this one coming up in Regina.
Caleb Hawley brings it down. For Saskatchewan fans, that was amazing. This is a rising team that could make a lot of noise this year. Money throw by Bo Levi Mitchell. Come on, Jordan! Touchdown! Bo Levi Mitchell passes Doug Flutie on the all-time Stampeder passing list. The roll continues.
Go to Chris Cuthbert and Glenn Suter.
Thank you, Rod. Finally, the first Western showdown for both the undefeated Calgary Stampeders and the 3-2 Saskatchewan Roughriders as these rivals collide in front of a sellout crowd on a perfect prairie night at Mosaic.
Former Calgary Stampeder Charleston Hughes registered 99 sacks as a Calgary Stampeder. Practiced against Bo Levi Mitchell for 6 seasons, but in practice, the quarterback has a different jersey on and is untouchable. Tonight, Bo Levi Mitchell is live for Charleston Hughes. He wants to get to him, but Mitchell has only lost 1 game in 8 attempts against Saskatchewan. That was last year in October.
Dave Dickinson Stamps, first Calgary team to go 5-0 in 23 years, although the head coach not entirely happy with last week's 25-8 win over Montreal. Chris Jones's team coming off a sweep of Hamilton as they start a critical 6-game run against the West. They snapped a 10-game losing streak against Calgary last October. First meeting of the year, you see that Romar Morris and Terry Williams have dropped deep. Don Jackson not in the lineup for Calgary. Riders won the toss. They deferred. Perfect prairie night, temperature 25, a gentle breeze, and maybe a storm on the field about to brew. It will be Terry Williams from his 7. And Jordan Reeves got to him first, brought down at the 25-yard line as Bo Levi Mitchell leads the offense out. 74th game start, 61-10-2.
Doesn't have Don Jackson in the backfield. He was a late scratch. They'll start Romar Morris, number 32 at tailback. But yeah, Bo Levi Mitchell, 7-1 against the Saskatchewan Roughriders in his career. The loss was last October, late in the season. They were 13-1, snapped a 10-game winning streak for Calgary.
They practiced in the noise this week. This is why. First down, running through the reeds, has lots of time. And incomplete. Looking for Markin Michel, the intended target, 2nd and 10.
We will see Terry Williams in the backfield as well, but there's Romar Morris. He's going to start at tailback. We can see if there's going to be a matchup tonight against Eric Rogers and Deron Carter. And one we'll be watching is Charleston Hughes up against his old teammate Derek Dennis or Spencer Wilson, either side. We'll see what the matchup brings tonight.
Stamps number 2 in points and yards so far this season. 2nd and long to start. And they'll swing it out into the flat. It's a catch for Morris, brought down quickly by Ed Geaney. And a 2 and out to start as the Roughriders, who lead the league in 2 and outs, register 1 on the opening drive.
Riders won the toss and then deferred. Calgary took the ball. So when you win the toss and defer, the strategy is get that 2 and out quickly. It's worked so far for Saskatchewan early on. Christian Jones coming off a touchdown on a punt return last week.
3 regular season punt return touchdowns, number 2 in the league. In fact, we have the top 2 punt returners, Christian Jones and Terry Williams, in this game. Maver with a 57-yard blast, but here's Jones, and he gets surrounded and brought down. William Longley leading the charge along with Falarin Oromalade. And here comes Brandon Bridge, who seemed to get some traction in the second half as he led the Roughriders in a comeback win at Tim Hortons Field.
Yeah, completed 77% of his passes in that game against Hamilton. Most of his 165 yards passing came in that second half when he stayed in the game for the entire second half, threw 1 touchdown, did not throw an interception in that one.
Roughriders start at their 32 with Marcus Thigpen in the backfield. 1 carry last week, an 80-yard touchdown romp.
Yeah, that's good for your average. You're a tailback. Get that 1 carry, you go 80 yards for a touchdown. That was Marcus Thigpen last week. He will rotate with Jerome Messam and Trey Mason in that backfield. And Brendan Labatt will be matched up against the best defensive tackle in the Canadian Football League, and Micah Johnson tonight. Played hurt last week in Hamilton.
Boy, did he gut it out after leaving the game early with a knee issue. By the way, all 3 running backs for Saskatchewan at least 50 yards rushing last week. 2nd down, they stay on the ground. And it looks like they'll be a little short to the first down. Alex Singleton with the tackle.
See where they mark this, but if it's on that 40-yard line, they're 2 yards short. Well, in between.
So a yard and a half.
Yard and a half short. Yeah, decision for Chris Jones early here.
Right down on the line of scrimmage, surveying it, and no movement from the punt team, so they're leaving the offense out. 9 of 11, 3rd and short so far this year.
Didn't put Messam in the rotation, stayed with Marcus Thigpen in this drive, or in this situation.
And they'll give it to Thigpen, he's got it. Oh, did the ball pop loose? Stampeders say looked like forward progress was clearly enough, but did he lose the football? Well, the Stamps think they've got to stop.
No ruling yet. Al Bradbury in his 300th game officiating
that ball
tonight.
did pop
the
loose.
ball came out on that drive. Now, who recovered it?
Looks like Calgary
football.
Well, the team that leads the Canadian Football League in takeaways, at least into the week, has come up with another Calgary football.
Play here made by Jagarrett Davis in the short yardage formation. It's Thigpen gets the ball off the line of scrimmage. It's stripped out of there by Davis. Clearly the ball comes out. He gets his left hand on it, pulls it out of there before he's down by contact. Calgary recovers, first turnover of the game.
Now hard to see that pile up who ended up with the football for Calgary, but it is Stamps football. They're plus 14 now in the giveaway takeaway this season. Number 1 in the league.
Number 1 by far.
Mitchell going to take a shot for Michel on target. Mark Michelle, touchdown. Sudden change.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. It's called sudden change. You get that turnover, you want to make the defense, make the other team pay immediately for the mistake. And the Calgary Stampeders do just that. Mark and Michelle on the corner route. Lots of time for Bo Levi Mitchell. Throws on time, ball spotted. The outside shoulder of Michelle. Ed Gainey in coverage. Didn't get the help over the top, although that's a long way for Mike Edom to go on that corner route. Basically a man-to-man situation, and Mark and Michelle beats Ed Gainey.
First touchdown catch of the year for Michelle. The 10th touchdown pass for Bo Levi Mitchell, and number 125 in his career. Rennie Paredes. Looked like the timing was a little off on that, but he hits the convert. And Calgary up 7-0. So points off turnovers, and now 64 points off takeaways for the Stampeders this season. "41-yard touchdown strike."
Chris Jones likes to do a lot of matchups. This is called change motion from the receivers, where they're going to swap positions before the ball is snapped. Mark and Michelle's on the outside right here, and watch him end up being an inside receiver. If you're going to play man-to-man and match up personnel like Deron Carter, possibly on Eric Rogers, we'll see what the matchups are tonight. But Mark and Michelle ended up on Ed Gainey. But one of the ways to beat man-to-man matchup defense like that is to run that change motion, and that's exactly what Dave Dickinson does on that sudden change corner route for a touchdown.
That's one. That's one. We got more coming now. AJ, that was left for you.
Christian Jones is back, along with Trey Mason, and Mason has a little trouble flagging it down, and he's in some trouble and just gets back to the 10. So an early hole for the Saskatchewan Roughriders, a turnover, a Stampeder touchdown, and now Brandon Bridge with a long field.
Hey, regular 5-yard, Trey.
Chris Jones mentioned yesterday his team had to be +1 in giveaway, takeaway very early, -1.
Against a team that is now, as you mentioned, +14. The next closest is +1, Saskatchewan in a tie there. So Calgary Stampeders have dominated one of the most important categories in the stat sheet.
First bridge pass, complete, thick pen loose on this near side, and he'll step out of bounds at the 17 after 7.
Best defense in the league so far. They're averaging just 9.2 points per game allowed. Micah Johnson up front, 4 sacks for him. Take a look at Jamar Wall in game number 100 for the tweener in the linebacking core. And Brandon Smith off to a good start this season. 2 interceptions for Smith, one in week 1 and one last week against Montreal.
Lowest 5-game point total that the Calgary Stampeders have allowed since 1971. And on second and short, Thigpen brought down at the 20, but just enough for the initial Rough Rider first down.
That's important for Saskatchewan to get Thigpen the ball right away again. So first of all, Brandon Bridge on first down, throws it to him out in the flat, gets good production on first down, and give it to him on the handoff on second and short to get that first down and just flush out what happened in the last series.
Well, it looks like the game plan was to get Thigpen involved. 5 Rough Rider plays. He's touched the ball on all 5. And Messam and Thigpen in the backfield. A pitch to Thigpen. And up at the 22-yard line, pulled down by Jagara Davis.
I mentioned his big play last week against Hamilton. This was it in the second half. Really opened things up for the run game. Marcus Thigpen, 80 yards. It was his only carry of the game. Trey Mason carried the ball more than any of the 3 running backs. Jerome Messam finished the game off with 15 carries as well. So Thigpen just got the one, but he made the best of it.
Couple on that carry, 2nd and 8. And Bridge looking for Shaq Evans, and almost intercepted off the outstretched fingertips of Shaq Evans. Trey Roberson a shot at the football for Calgary.
It wasn't a real big window there for Brandon Bridge to fit that in, and he a little bit high on that throw. Shaq Evans, of course, over the last few games has replaced Deron Carter, who's been playing defense. Has been well documented here in Saskatchewan.
He's playing defense this year?
Yeah, that's what I hear.
Terry Williams back #1 in punt returns, averaging 14.9 yards a return. Josh Bartell hangs it up. Williams doesn't reach midfield, but the flag comes down. 36-yard punt. And no yards, looks like it will be the call. Bo Levi Mitchell has hit for his 14th completion of over 30 yards this year. That's #1 in the league. And he has his team off to a 7-0 lead at Mosaic. Well, back-to-back starts for Calgary on the Saskatchewan side of midfield. A no yards penalty against the Roughriders sets up the Stamps 1st and 10 at the Rider 43. William Longley in as a blocking back. Mitchell steps up and just throws that away with the pocket collapsing.
Take a look at the starting defense for Saskatchewan. Charleston Hughes up against Derek Dennis and Spencer Wilson tonight. The tackles, we'll see. He leads the league in sacks, by the way, with 6 on the season already. Samuel Guavin leads the team in defensive tackles and in defensive plays, but they don't have Derek Moncrief in the lineup. And there's Deron Carter, and he is on the corner.
Matt Elam making his Canadian Football League debut, former first rounder of Baltimore and All-American at Florida. Underneath it goes. Tavares Daniels has the catch, but he'll be stopped well short of the first down and driven back by Ed Geedy with Cameron Judge in support.
Well, he'll get forward progress, which is about back to the original line of scrimmage. Maybe just a... Well, actually, he's going to lose a yard. But back-to-back series where Bo Levi Mitchell started in Saskatchewan's side of the field.
Well, they're going to send out the field goal unit. We haven't seen many long field goal attempts this year.
Remember, Christian Jones is back there as well.
Rene Paredes from 51 out.
Dangerous returner back there.
42 is longest of the year, 12 of 13.
Confidence in your kicker from Dickinson.
And it's up. And it's good. Money kick by Rene Paredes. Now good on 40 of his last 42. It's an early double-digit lead for the Stampeders off the big Paredes boot. Right here on the TSN Network.
Quick start by Calgary has taken this crowd right out of it.
There's Bridge throwing the screen, and look out. Messam has the boom lowered by Jagarrett Davis.
Couple of big plays by Jagarrett Davis already in this game. He has 3 sacks coming in, but that's a big play to sniff out this screen. Play action, not fooled by it, just is patient at the line of scrimmage, waits for Messam, who's getting his turn in the rotation at tailback. That's the second big play in a row by 95. It's another day at the office. He's kind of shrugged that one off.
And all the talk this week about Charleston Hughes, who was let go by Calgary, believing that they had some young up-and-coming guys like Jagarrett Davis and James Fodders. Davis has responded early. Bridge bouncing around in the pocket. Under duress. Still nobody home, and he skips that short of the intended target, Williams Lambert, but did well to avoid the sack.
Had plenty of time. That one is chalked up as a coverage sack. You give the credit to the secondary because Brandon Bridge just could not find an open target. Finally, that breaks down. You can't block forever.
So a slow start offensively for the Roughriders. 1 first down, 18 net yards. And Bartell back into punt. Terry Williams from the 32. 46-yard punt and a big return. Terry Williams running away, and he will score. A silencer for Williams, and it's 16-0 Calgary. 78 yards for Williams, his second punt return touchdown of the season.
Well, this was going to be the balancing act for Dave Dickinson. How much do you play Terry Williams offensively? Because you certainly don't want to take him off the teams. And someone for Saskatchewan lost their lane. It just looked like that running lane was wide open. You got to be in your lane as a cover player on those punt cover teams. And Terry Williams takes advantage of the mistake by Saskatchewan.
Got a block from Jawan Prescott, and he did the rest. Third big play punt return for Williams on the season. A shocker here early for the home fans. 17-0. Stampeders with the lead. We haven't hit the 10-minute mark at Mosaic. And a 102-yard punt return touchdown against the Toronto Argos. 78 here.
It looks like Alexander Chevrier may be the guilty party here. Number 45 has got to get in that lane. It looks like Jordan Reeves is coming to that lane, and you see Aguavin right there. He looks like he's got his lane fine. But 45 at the top of your screen, stop it there. See, he needs to be out and in this lane right here, the next layer in behind, and you got a chance on the cover team. But one little mistake like that where you're out of your lane, and it's goodbye when you got a guy like Terry Williams and that outstanding speed.
So it's a 17-0 lead for Calgary on one first down. Special teams with a touchdown. Defense is provided to turnover. Rene Paredes with a long field goal. And Bo Levi Mitchell with a 41-yard touchdown strike to Markin Michel. This time it will be Jones. And Christian Jones with a return to the 35. Well, Brandon Bridge has not often seen the third or fourth possession of games this year, but Chris Jones sending 16 right back out.
Well, and now what he has to guard against, Chris, is not to try and do too much. There's still so much time. It's so early in this game. Yeah, they're down by 17, but there's no 17-point drives possible. So he's got to just run the game plan, run the offense, move the chains, and try and chip away at this lead.
Messam, the ball carrier, straight ahead. Good run by Messam, who, when wearing Rough Rider colors, had a couple of, Calgary colors had a couple of 100-yard games last year against Saskatchewan. Man closing in on the top 5 all-time Canadian running backs. Got 7 there, needed 37 coming into the game to pass Ronnie Stewart to get into the top 5. Joining guys like Andrew Harris and John Cornish, and another good run by Messam. So getting it done on the ground here to move the chains.
Well, and that's an indication that they're not going to panic down 17-0 this early. Just stay with the game plan, not throwing it every down. Just game plan is to get both Thigpen, probably Trey Mason as this game goes on as well, and in this series, Jerome Messam involved, which is a good idea against this front 7 for the Calgary Stampeders. Came in first in the league in sacks at 16, so they're that good up front. Go ahead and run the ball.
Well, that's what they do again. Messam drops it, and the Stampeders are on it, and it continues to unravel. Micah Johnson knocked that ball loose, and Jagarrett Davis is on it, and Chris Jones' reaction speaks volumes.
Calgary doesn't have Cordero Law in the lineup either. Another outstanding defensive end, and yet it's Jagarrett Davis or Micah Johnson taking their turn. I don't think that handoff was clean to mess him in the first place. Looked like he was trying to gather it up. Let's take a look. It's a little bit high. Well, he just loses his balance and doesn't have control of it. Big hit by Micah Johnson. And boy, against 5-0 teams, against the best team in the league, you've got to play mistake-free football. Saskatchewan's not done that early in this game.
What up, Q, baby? What up, mama? What up, little JC?
The big defensive tackle has his third forced fumble of the season. And there is the newcomer at running back. Actually, his second game with Calgary, Romar Morris, after the late scratch of Don Jackson.
Lower body injury. They thought Don Jackson was going to be able to make it for this game, but it was a late scratch, had a little bit of a setback.
Morris did take a lot of reps this week as they utilized all three backs to get ready. Guy's got terrific speed, 4.3 40 speed, and they'll dump it off to him. Let's check that speed. Mike Edom the tackle, but a first down for Romar Morris, who had 54 receptions at North Carolina.
I like the play call too by Dave Dickinson. He knows in those situations Chris Jones likes to come with different looks, different exotic type blitzes. This time he comes from outside with Creston Butler and a safety, or a secondary blitz I should say, from the halfback position, and he screened right underneath that. Nice call by Dickinson.
Sergio Cambre-Williams, the starting center for Dave Dickinson, left the game. Justin Lawrence, the rookie out of the University of Alberta, is in on that offensive line. 1st and 10. Mitchell over the middle. He's got a target. And Kamar Jordan with the catch. The leading receiver for the Stampeders and 6th in the league, has catch number 27 on the year.
Yeah, and Kamar Jordan so far has been one of those go-to down the field targets for Bo Levi Mitchell. 4 catches over 30 yards. That's just precision in the passing game to time it up in between the linebackers there, Samuel Guavin and Cameron Judge. 14-yard gain.
This is the 3rd consecutive Calgary possession that began on the Riders' side of half. 14 for Jordan, first down, pass to the goal line, and it's a touchdown. Eric Rogers is in the end zone. What a first quarter for the Calgary Stampeders. And at least one guy in the sellout crowd likes it.
A lot of different strategic moves here from Dickinson to force Chris Jones to declare what he's doing defensively. You can see there's a bit of a mix-up in that back end. Saskatchewan's Matt Elam placing Derek Moncrief back there, trying to direct traffic, and it's too late. Even though he gets a hit on Eric Rogers, he takes the hit, absorbs it, and hangs on for a touchdown.
That is Mr. Rogers' neighborhood, his 7th catch of the red zone, his 5th touchdown. Coming off a big game against Montreal with 9 catches and 113 yards in a major.
Shout out Lamar.
Paredes, the convert. 24 on the board already for Calgary. They look like an unbeaten team so far.
4 sets and 6.
Again, a lot of different looks for Chris Jones' defense. So what does Dave Dickinson do? He puts Romar Morris out there, so that declares on what Saskatchewan is doing. If they cover him with a linebacker, they're in man-to-man. If they don't, then they're playing a zone look. So Bo Levi Mitchell knows it's a zone look because no one goes out there to cover him in a one-on-one situation, and he finds that hole in the zone. Meantime, in the back end, Mike Elam, the newcomer replacing Derek Moncrief, is trying to direct traffic. They're late to get into their spots in the zone defense. So far in that chess match between offensive-minded Dave Dickinson and defensive-minded Chris Jones, Dickinson has the edge.
27 seconds remaining in the quarter. In the last 9 quarters, the Stampeders have outscored their opponents 76-11. Christian Jones trying to provide a spark. And he gets drilled. Helmet pops off up around the 29. Well, Saskatchewan in 3 games this season has not scored 20 points. They've got to get some offense going here. A couple of turnovers by the offense early in this game.
See Jones trying to get things squared away coverage-wise after that Eric Rogers touchdown.
Now Trey Mason in. Straight ahead for Mason up to the 36. He has 7. And it looks like that's the final play of the opening quarter, as signaled by referee Al Bradbury, officiating his 300th game today. All Calgary opening quarter. Markin Michelle, Terry Williams, Eric Rogers touchdowns. And it's 24-0 after 1. No, won't surprise anybody to tell you that that was the best quarter for Calgary this year, and that was the worst quarter for Saskatchewan.
Well, a couple decisions, couple of turnovers, and look at the average start position for Calgary and Saskatchewan and the difference. And it goes back to that first decision on 3rd and 1.5 yards in the very first series of this game when Brandon Bridge hands it to Marcus Sigpin. He doesn't get it, in fact fumbles. Calgary takes over on Saskatchewan's 41.
I think Dave Dickinson always stretches, well, every coach does, 3 phases. We saw all 3 phases selling in that opening 15 minutes. Defensive takeaways. Big special team play from Terry Williams.
Calgary's playing on half the field right now. Their starts have been Saskatchewan's 41, 43, and 40-yard line.
Those 2nd and 3 with Mason in the backfield, and he gets stopped cold. Alex Singleton, along with Junior Turner, to slam the door. I don't think Micah Johnson's been out for the last couple of plays.
Well, at 17-0, and still in the first quarter with about 5 minutes left in that opening quarter, I would say that Saskatchewan sticks with their game plan. At 24-0, and now into the second quarter, it almost starts to change and evolve now. I mean, you got to start pushing the ball and try and climb back into this one. At least give your team some hope.
So 3 down football already, 3rd and 2. 0 for 1 in 3rd and short so far. Mason the ball carrier. He's got this and a lot more. Siate Evans will wrestle down Trey Mason up in midfield.
And a real nice hesitation in the hole from Trey Mason, which is risky on 3rd down, but he got it and he hits it. Watch that little hesitation. Now he is 3 or 4 yards behind the line of scrimmage when he does that. So if Calgary moves up the field there, they catch him and hold him and turn it over one more time.
Dan Clark opens a hole. Now they swing it out to Jordan Williams-Lambert. Sheds a tackle and is down to the 44-yard line. That's back-to-back first down plays for Saskatchewan.
Chris, I watched the offense walk on the field at the quarter change there and walking down the field. The body language for Saskatchewan obviously just awful. Looked like it was almost over. But now a couple first downs. The bench starts getting excited. Things start to happen on the field, and you start to get a little bit of hope that you can chip away at this lead if you're Saskatchewan.
So into Stamps territory at the 44, back in the hands of Mason. And he'll have close to 4. Drag down Falaran Orimolade out of Dartmouth. Had a great training camp and is in action today because of an injury to Cordero Law. So 2nd and 6. 6 receivers out. Underneath, Bridge complete. It's Caleb Hawley stepping up with another first down, and Roughriders have something going on this possession.
Caleb Hawley is going to be that inside receiver here, come all the way across. But because Brandon Bridge has so much time in that pocket, he just sits back there, waits for that crossing route to get all the way to the backside numbers.
17 for Hawley, 33 yards passing so far for Bridge and a first down. Play action fake, and that doesn't work for Williams Lambert. Coming out of the backfield, it'll be 2nd and 10.
I've had conversations with Dunnigan on that throw. It seems like it is one of the easiest, or should be the easiest throw in the book, but it's not necessarily, because you don't see much of the receiver. Just see the side angle of his shoulder pad, and that ball just on the wrong side of the intended target, Williams Lambert, that time.
See what Stephen McAtoo has for 2nd and 10. And they don't get the playoff.
Time count violation. Saskatchewan, number 16. 5-yard penalty. Remains 2nd down.
So now they need a 2nd and 15 play.
Boy, and this sellout crowd just turned.
Roughriders number 7 in 2nd down conversions. In Calgary, well, number 1 in almost every category. Number 1 defensively. In 2nd down efficiency. Bridge calls his own number and just gets beyond the line of scrimmage. The fans didn't like that play call. Derek Wigan, Micah Johnson were there.
No, but I don't mind it. I get it, and they wanted to throw the ball down the field in 2nd and 10 plus. You've got to try and take a shot, but this is points, and they needed to chip away at this, get something positive off this drive. If they turn it over again here, because they are taking too much of a chunk of yardage, or trying to turn it over another time, it's game over. I mean, they got to get some points and some hope here.
So Brett Lowther trying to do that, and he is successful. Now 14 of 16 on the year. Charleston Hughes was looking forward to facing his old team. I don't think this is what he had envisioned. 24-3 Stamps, 2nd quarter. Been 10 years as a member of the Calgary Stampeders. A reunion prior to the game. 99 career sacks as a member of the Stamp, playing them today. And with more, let's go to the sidelines. Here's Claire Hanna.
Well, when I spoke to Charleston Hughes about this date on the calendar at the beginning of the season, he compared it to playing an ex-partner. He said that he doesn't have any animosity against them, that they don't communicate, but that when they see them, they will say hi. He also said just a week ago that he doesn't remember exes from a year ago. So it could seem as though this relationship has now been annulled and the divorce is official.
Yeah, I would say that. And as I mentioned off the top, practicing against Bo, he used to run by him in practice and say that would have been a sack. If I was allowed to sack you, that would have been one. And it happened over and over again in practice. But the quarterbacks wear a different color, and they're not to be hit in practice. Now he's live. Hasn't got there yet.
Yeah, said he was going to bring the hammer down today. Flag comes down. And it's Tavares Daniels, and look at that contact. He bounced off. Duron Carter tosses him out. It would be a first down. Let's check the flag.
Duron Carter's got to be careful if it's against Saskatchewan, the flag on the field now, they're looking at a second one if he doesn't stay away from the official. If it's against Calgary, he's going to push the envelope. Ed Gady trying to get him out of there.
Like it's against Calgary.
Procedure, Calgary, number 88. 5-yard penalty. Remains 2nd down.
Bar Jordan called. A little bit of crackback block that Carter took offense to. He is in a lather and very much in this game.
So far tonight, they stay in a bunch defensively so that they make it look like they're going to match up, and it looks like he's going out to the wide side against Mark and Michelle, at least for this snap.
2nd and 7. Charleston Hughes back in the game. Mitchell got the ball out of his hands quickly and has a connection to Daniels, who has another Calgary first down.
Now this week in practice, Deron Carter actually took some reps at linebacker. And when you consider where Eric Rogers lines up, I was thinking that may be setting up a matchup with Carter and Eric Rogers are similar heights, both around 6'3".
Think he'll get a shot at defensive end before the year's out?
Well, he's corner blitzed before.
Terry Williams runs inside, and a late flag. Matt Elam stepped up and got Williams, who is slow to get up. So they've lost Don Jackson, and now Terry Williams shaken up. And there's the former Baltimore Raven.
There might have been some cruising going on from Calgary's offensive line. I think Spencer Wilson got involved in it. Cruising meaning if you're standing there watching.
At the end of the play, unnecessary roughness. Calgary, number 50. 15-yard penalty, 2nd down.
It is Spencer Wilson.
Yeah, and he's right here, and watch as he plays over right now, cruising, and Mike Edom there watching the pile. Takes a hit against the rules. Going to draw a penalty flag every time. Unnecessary roughness. 2nd and a bunch now.
Yeah. Back at the Calgary 37. Second and 20. Underneath it goes. And here is Daniels again with a cutback and lunges ahead. Another flag. That ball came out. Was Daniels down? And the ball's still loose. Wild pile up. Roughriders have it. I think they were ruling that Daniels was down. Aguavin, the last man to come up with the football.
And there's a flag on the field down right where all this action happened. So let's take a look and first see if he was down. It looks like from that view, yeah, his knee touched. Well, he still had control of the ball. It was the ground that popped the ball out, and that can't happen. Once the knee's touched, you're down by contact. Still has control. Looks like he's down. There's also that penalty flag.
Calgary, number 88. The penalty declined as this play results in a catch, fumble, recovery by Saskatchewan. First down, Saskatchewan.
They're ruling it a fumble.
Turnover has to be reviewed. It looks like the call on the field might be overturned. Dave Dickinson awaits. We'll have a verdict when we come back.
This play is under review again. Dave Dickinson doesn't have to challenge this because it was ruled a turnover. They will do it automatically. Now the ball does move slightly in the hands here, but it looks like Daniels has control when his knee touches the ground. That would mean they overturn it here because, again, on the field ruled a fumble. And there's the knee down, and I don't see the ball out. So I think this is going to be overturned.
After review by the command center, the Calgary receiver was down with contact. Therefore, there is no fumble. However, the penalty for holding is still willing to be applied. I'm just going to check with the coach's options.
So because the play overturned, remember, because he thought it was a fumble, Chris Jones declined the penalty, obviously. So now he goes back and gets the options.
Does he want to take it back 10 more and make it 2nd and 30? Or does he just want to force Calgary to punt now?
Holding penalty against Calgary, number 88. The penalty is declined. It becomes 3rd down, 3rd and 8.
So he elects to decline it anyway to get the ball back now because 3rd and 8, Dave Dickinson won't, unless he's got something on here in the special teams.
I might have taken the penalty if I'm Chris Jones, confident in my defense. How often are you going to convert 2nd and 30? And instead,
field
this is about 20 yards of field that he's giving up on the play.
But now you're going to get the ball for sure.
Yep.
And you got Christian Jones, who can swap a field in a heartbeat. So with a big return. So I think I decline. Get the ball back.
Maver good at the pin. This one straight down the middle, though. And here is Jones. And he's cut down right away at the 27. And a burger got down in a hurry. It'll be Rough Rider football down by 3 touchdowns when we come back. 5. Rough Rider football, a handoff inside, and Marcus Thigpen contained.
So here's the mountain that Saskatchewan has to climb. Down by 3 scores against Devon Claybrook's defense that ranks #1 in all the major categories in the Canadian Football League. We mentioned the points allowed at 9.2, but they're first against the run, first against the pass, under 200 yards a game through the air against this D. It's a pretty tall mountain to climb.
Strangely, the first downs are even at 5 apiece. Rough Riders have run more plays. Now they've got their 6th first down on that connection to Shaq Evans. Jameer Thurman pushes him back, but Evans will spot the ball and a Saskatchewan first down.
Yeah, Thurman got a warning there, it looked like, from the official, just not to carry through with that to the point he did. Not a big deal, but I think that's the best way for the officials to handle it, is just to say, hey, that's a warning. Don't get an unnecessary roughness penalty when you don't need to.
First down at the 40. 5 receivers out. Bridge, fastball, and it falls incomplete. Intended for Naaman Roosevelt, and Jamar Wall was there in game number 100 as Devon Claybrooks orchestrates the defense from the sidelines.
Well, this is record-breaking pace. At under 10 points per game. The Lions in 64 were at 10.5. I mean, it's a long time ago, #1. Hard to imagine under 10 points in the Canadian Football League.
Well, considering those dates, neither one of us really remember seeing anything quite like this start.
Exactly. I mean, it's just a well-coached unit, and you know, they've been healthy up front. They lose Kadero Law for this one, but Jagarrett Davis and James Vaughters, that doesn't drop very far. And that's why, you know, when Dave Dickinson, John Huffnagel looked at their lineup and felt that it was okay to allow Charleston Hughes to move on.
Saw Terry Williams shaken up earlier for Calgary, so Romar Morris is back this time. 3 running backs in practice this week, though they might be down to just Morris now. 44-yard punt, and Morris is driven down. Good downfield cover there by Gagne.
Make your getaway with intelligent all-wheel drive in the 2018 Nissan Qashqai.
Well, there was a lot of hype, expectation about this matchup, and Calgary kind of threw cold water on it here at Mosaic with that big first quarter. Calgary's only run this their 12th play of the half. And it's another receiver with the carry. Kamar Jordan.
Well, we're going to take a closer look at the matchup. Charleston Hughes and Derek Dennis or Spencer Wilson, depending. But right now he's up on that wide side of the field, number 39. That should put him up against Derek Dennis. Dennis, former Rider last year, didn't have a good training camp this year. Moved back to Calgary's back on top of his game.
Play was considered a pass, no gain, 2nd and 10. A pass here, intercepted. Toby Antigua back there. And is it a pick 6? It is. Touchdown, Rough Riders.
Toby Antigua is a freak athlete. I mean, any guy that can play defensive end, rush the passer up against tackles, drop out of there and play linebacker in the run-stopping game, and then also go to safety or deep coverage and play as well as any safety or DB in the league. I mean, he goes and gets this football, playing deep coverage, and then takes it down the sideline for the score. Toby Antigua is 6'2", 223 pounds.
Former receiver. That is the 8th pick six tossed by Bo Levi Mitchell. The most remembered in these parts, of course, last year when Duron Carter turned the trick. But Antigua perhaps providing a spark here with the 52-yard return. Lowther adds the convert. That's a much different looking scoreboard.
Playing what's called cover 2-man, and Antigua, watch, he starts in the middle and then he goes to the deep outside. Now they're going to have 2 deep on this play in this coverage. Antigua's at the top of your screen, number 0 right there. He drops out of it, sees the throw, reads the throwing motion of Bo Levi Mitchell, and goes and plays that like a free safety. I mean, that is outstanding athletic ability from Toby Antigua. And boy, do the Riders need it.
So a special teams touchdown for Calgary. A defensive touchdown for the Roughriders from their second-year man.
Talked to a couple of offensive players for Calgary before the game and asked them, what do you see in the Saskatchewan defense? And they were telling me they play that number 0 kind of all over the place.
Good to see Terry Williams back on the field. And Bo Levi Mitchell right back to work. That's the 4th interception he has tossed this year.
Last 2 of his interceptions that went back for touchdowns against the Saskatchewan Roughriders. That was the October win I talked about off the top of the show. Duron Carter got him there. They were back and forth on Twitter. Remember that game? And Duron Carter got that interception, took it back, and now tonight Toby Antigua with a pick 6. Here it is. I believe it was something like Bo Levi Mitchell in the Twitter world saying, "Don't do it, don't play corner." And Carter replying with something along the lines of, "Hey, I catch the ball better than any of your receivers anyway." And here's that last one to Toby Antigua. I mean, I think if you're a quarterback and you see a defensive lineman back there at safety, you want to take a shot at that matchup, but tremendous athlete.
So interceptions for Antigua in each of his last 2 home games. Had one here a couple of weeks ago against the Hamilton Tiger Cats. A delay on the field. Spencer Moore was shaken up on the kick cover, and the big fullback from McMaster now makes his way to the sidelines.
Dave Dickinson in this chess match against Chris Jones had the early edge. And now dropping Toby Antigua, the safety, gives Chris Jones one of those points in the tote board against the 2 coaches and their 2 different areas of expertise.
Hard to charge the points against Devon Claybrook's defense, but Calgary came in only allowing 8 points in the second quarter this season. Roughriders now have 10 in the quarter. And that play doesn't get off.
Is that a time count?
Time count violation. Calgary, number 19. 5-yard penalty remains, first down.
And the fans cheer that and cheer themselves.
Now they're back in it. Especially with the Calgary offense on the field. That's when the home crowd in any stadium turns it up. But this is a sold-out mosaic, and it's getting loud.
Thirteenth man goes to work. Yukembre Williams back in at center. First and 15. And it's Morris. He won't get back to the original line of scrimmage. Tripped up by Willie Jefferson.
Charleston Hughes up against Spencer Wilson on that last play. Didn't matter because they didn't run at him. They ran away from him. But this is where he'll go into his pass rush mode and put on one of his moves. Looks like he's up against Spencer Wilson again.
Three-man front. They look like they're going to drop 9, including Antigua. On second and long. Pressure. There he got him.
Got him. Dipped his shoulder.
Comes down, and for the 106th time, Charleston Hughes has a sack, his 30th different victim.
Spencer Wilson has good position here, but watch him dip his shoulder. Dip his shoulder and rip his right arm underneath. As a defensive or an offensive tackle, you can't get your hands on him when he's that low, and he gets to both.
And now the Roughriders should have good field position. Christian Jones running backwards, and he is dragged down. Good defensive special team play there by Richard Sendani, the Campbell Collegiate product. Well, with that sack, Charleston Hughes now number 10 all-time alone. Bo Levi Mitchell, his latest victim.
Rod, the guys back in the studio getting set for halftime. We'll talk about a 3-play sequence that got the ball rolling for the Stampeders early on. Also, Ottawa's win in Hamilton, but the momentum is changing at Mosaic. The Riders trying to get rolling. Let's go back to CC and Suits.
Former Stampeder Charleston Hughes helping shift the momentum here. Plot thickens. And Marcus Thigpen inside, not going anywhere. Alex Singleton twisted him up like a pretzel. On pace for over 100 tackles. Again, number 4 in the league in defensive play so far.
Yeah, that tackle total, that pace or projection is actually a little low compared to last year. But when your defense is 2 and out every series, you don't get very many chances to make those tackles.
So a yard for Thigpen, 2nd and 9. Pocket collapsing, screen to Thigpen. Singleton can't get him this time, but Jameer Thurman does. A short tackle by the weak side linebacker, and it's 3rd down.
Yeah, Singleton got a piece of him, and that was enough just to slow the momentum because this is a home run hitter in Marcus Thigpen. If he gets his speed going, he's tough to catch, and he'll outrun angles. But that little twist there just made him stutter step and allowed a teammate in Jameer Thurman to get there.
Celebrate with me, I love this. I can't wait to see it. We got one more though. We got to keep going.
So it's 3rd down and 4. See if anything's on for the Roughriders. From midfield, they're going to kick it away. Bartell to Williams. 44-yard punt, and Gagne down there hustling for his 2nd consecutive special team tackle. Well, Charleston Hughes told us prior to the Argo game that he was going to get 3 sacks. He did. Prior to this game, he said he was going to get Bo Levi Mitchell.
Oh, yeah, I'm going to get him. I'm guaranteed to get my hands on him. Whether it's shaking hands after we win or whether it's shaking hands pregame, I'll get my hands on him at least twice. When I'm in the trenches, I can guarantee at least one time I'm going to get there. It's going to feel great.
Well, he got him, and now the deepest start of the game for Calgary. Mitchell underneath. Kamar Jordan does bring it in, and Duron Carter with the tackle. Well, we mentioned 30 different quarterbacks have been dropped by Charleston Hughes. Number 1 on that list, a guy that doesn't need any introduction here in Saskatchewan, Darian Durant.
And number 30, Bo Levi Mitchell, 106, puts him in 10th place by himself all time. 99 of those 106 as a Stampeder and 7 so far this year. That leads the CFL.
Sacks in 4 straight. That pass broken up. Carter was in the vicinity.
Well, almost had that. That's how he got his 2 pick sixes playing in the secondary. One against Boulevard Mitchell last year. We showed you that, but he also had one this year, and it was a similar situation, sitting in his own look and just reading the routes from the receivers. He knows them well because he is a receiver converted to DB.
So the Stamps 4th 2 and out. Roughriders will get the football back here with a little time to cut into this 14-point lead. Maver to punt with Christian Jones standing around the Roughrider 42. And fielding it near midfield. And right at the 55, Jones goes down, so short field for Brandon Bridge to cut into this lead.
And time, certainly for field goal range, which is about 2 first downs away.
Down by 10 at the half last week, 17-7 in Hamilton. Had a 21-point third quarter. First down right at midfield. Messam. The fake to Messam. And Roosevelt has the catch. And even Roosevelt with a catch now in 41 consecutive games as his first of the night.
You know, playing this Calgary defense is that they just don't very often bust the coverage. I mean, everything you get, if you're going to get it, just like that throw to Naaman Roosevelt, it comes with a hit. It comes with, you have to work for it, grind it out, stay patient, because they just don't give you freebies.
58 yards rushing, 53 yards passing. Williams-Lambert. And he gets held up and will be stopped short of the first down. Chris Jones has another decision to make. Does he go for it on 3rd and looks like 3? Doesn't look like that's the case. Bartell comes out. But it will be Lowther, and he's going to try one here from midfield. In fact, he's going to try. He put the tee down at 56 yards away.
Really no wind to speak of here. You can.
If there is, it appears it might be at his back, but just doesn't seem like much.
No.
He's hit from 52 this year, Suits.
There's flags in the goalpost just hanging there.
And of course, Terry Williams back if he misses. So they run the clock down, call the timeout.
Dan Clark was late to get out there.
Maybe he didn't expect a 56-yard attempt. We're doing what?
With Terry Williams back there if he misses.
Yes, this can be dangerous, but what a boost it could be. See if Lowther can give his team a lift. Ready! 1 for 1 from beyond 50. This would be the longest of the season, and he's got it. That'll get him pumped up. Brett Lowther from 56. And now it's an 11-point Calgary lead.
Great concentration. Didn't overstride it, thinking he had to really put anything extra into it. Might not have made it for 58, but he got it for 56, just over the crossbar. Money kick.
So that leaves 17 seconds on the clock. For the Stampeders, held to 5 first downs and 120 yards of offense first half so far. Morris, the ball carrier, gets just over 5 on that play, and see if Calgary just runs it out here.
Yeah, take it down. Go in the locker room with the lead. On the road. Sold out hostile territory. Yeah, I think you're Dave Dickinson, you take it.
Enormous first quarter for Calgary. A decent rebound for the Saskatchewan Roughriders in the second quarter. And it's 24-13 at the half as we send you to Rod Smith along with Jim Barker, Matt Dunnigan, and Milton Stegall.
Thank you, CC. Boy, big momentum change there after the Stampeders opened up with a 24-0 lead. We'll talk about Saskatchewan in a minute, but first, that big start, Milt, by Calgary, and really hinged on 3 straight plays early in this game.
Yeah, and you have to talk about Calgary, how they were able to claw back into this game, but they dug themselves into a hole that they didn't have to be into.
Saskatchewan did.
Yeah, Saskatchewan did. And when you're playing against Calgary Stampeders, you know they're notorious front runners. You want to dig yourself, and these are 3 plays. This play right here, 3rd and 1. This fumble, you can't do that. You're backed up. Ensuing play, you know Calgary's going to come out and try to go for the juggler. And what do? They score a touchdown. But I understand Chris Jones trying to get that momentum, but right there, that's a very difficult decision. Ensuing play, like I talked about before, Calgary Stampeders, touchdown to Markham Michelle. This is what you can't do. You can't let this happen. Okay? So now you know you're down 7-0. Ensuing kickoff, what do? You fumble the ball a little bit. You create field position for these Calgary Stampeders. Something else you can't do. They're front runners. They're the best team in the CFL. You know your offense isn't the best. You can't let that happen. What this does, they create field position, results in the field goal. Now, like I said, they were fortunate, able to climb themselves back into this game, but they dug themselves in the hole, and it's going to be difficult to totally get out of that hole with the way they play offense.
See, as a coaching staff, you get together and talk about what is it going to take for us to win this game. And I think if you're Saskatchewan, you say, listen, we need a low scoring. We're going to win this thing 17-12, something along those lines. The decision to go for it on 3rd and 1, long one, but that decision, to me, puts them behind the 8 ball right from the beginning. Instead of punting the ball, letting their defense do what their defense is doing, which is they have 5 first downs in the first half. They didn't allow that to happen, and they gave them field position, the first 3 or 4 times they had the ball on their side of the 50, and they give up a special teams touchdown. You just can't do that.
Jim, a lot easier here, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Down there, right? And we got a great vantage point, and we get to see it over again.
20/20.
Absolutely. And Milt, you talk about them clawing back, and this football team has showed some resiliency here in the first, in the second 15 minutes of the first half. And this here, this is a defensive end. Toby and Tiggett taking it to the house. This gives them life. This is exactly what they need. They almost had one before that, a fumble that was created by their defense on the Eric Rogers supposed fumble, but his knee was down. Then here, it's Willie Jefferson getting in the backfield, and Charleston doing his thing, becoming the 10th all-time in the Canadian Football League, getting his 106th sack in the season against a very good right tackle in Spencer Wilson. To me, this football team has what it takes in 2 phases.
Yes.
In 2 phases.
Yes.
Teams, we saw Lowder make a long one, 56-yarder, good on him. That looked fantastic. And this football team is right back in his football game. It looked like it was over early. And if you jump out early in a football game and the team has a tendency to kind of lose their focus, boy, it's tough to regain it, especially
if they can come out and do something on offense, these Rough Riders,
let's hope so.
They have a chance to win this game.
With defense and special teams, that's the running theme of the day, because earlier in the day, Hamilton and Ottawa, that was certainly a big part of the story. We'll talk about that coming back.
Mitchell going to take a shot for Michelle. On target. Markham Michelle. Touchdown. 46-yard punt and a big return. Terry Williams running away. Pass to the goal line, and it's a touchdown. What a first quarter for the Calgary Stampeders. A pass here, intercepted. Is it a pick six? It is.
Let's have a look at these halftime numbers. It's not about the offenses, Milt.
Yeah, because if you look at this score, you say there's no way Calgary Stampeders should be up. Well, the big reason they are is the field position. They controlled it in the first quarter and some in the second quarter. Saskatchewan Roughriders can regain it back. If they can continue this going in the second half, they got a chance of winning this game.
There was a touchdown by Calgary's Eric Rogers, standing by now with Clara Hanna.
Eric Rogers, the Stampeders come into this game 5-0, but this is their first test against a divisional rival. What's the atmosphere like playing here at Mosaic Stadium?
It's pretty quiet when they're not doing well, but they got a pick six, a couple of field goals, and they got pretty loud, so it made it a little tougher on us to communicate on the second and longs, stuff like that. So try to take the crowd out of it and put some more points on the board. It's going to be tough for them to score on our defense, but we still got to do our part of offense.
Now, Eric, you score that touchdown to put your team up 24-0 after the first quarter. Tell me about that.
Yeah, just will push. I just ran right behind them. It was easy. Catch it, cover myself up, took a big hit. Luckily, it was in the end zone, but like you said, it was 24-0 out the first quarter, and they scored 13 in the second. We didn't score any, so we got to regroup and get the momentum back.
Okay, thanks very much.
Big momentum swing. It was 24-0, and back came the green and white to make it 24-13 at the half at Mosaic. The second half kickoff coming up here in the CFL on TSN.
4 points in the opening quarter for Calgary, 13 in response for the Roughriders in the second quarter. Before the second half, let's go to Claire Hanna with Charleston Hughes.
Charleston Hughes, a definite change in momentum in that game. You don't allow Calgary to score a single point in the second quarter. What adjustments did you make?
Really ain't no adjustments we need to make, man. We just got to play football and, just keep chopping wood and just keep grinding and doing what we need to do.
One thing you told me before the game is how badly you wanted to get your hands on Bo Levi Mitchell. You get that. How did that feel?
I said I was going to get my hands on him at the beginning of the game, at the end of the game, and maybe somewhere in between. Well, now that between happens, now I'm going to see how many more times I can do it.
Have fun in the second half.
Thank you.
Well, they started chopping wood and much different.
But this is Bo Levi Mitchell's won 61 games.
Yep.
This is Dave Dickinson, one of the best coaches in the game at making halftime adjustments after what he's seen in the first half, and they still have the lead. So that tree is still standing, and they can still keep swinging the axe to keep chopping at it, but this is a 5-0 Stampeders. Let's see what adjustments are made.
Felt like they took the foot off the gas against Montreal last week. Let's see if they can go pedal to the metal in the second half, as the Roughriders will get the ball first. And Brandon Bridge will lead them out, just 55 yards passing in that first 30 minutes of football.
Yeah, but for one throw from Bo Levi Mitchell to Mark and Michelle on a corner route and sudden change, both these offenses, not a lot of traction in the first half, but we'll see what this second half brings. Saskatchewan involving the running game early on as well.
Thigpen gets the handoff. Last week, that was an 80-yard play. It isn't tonight because of Alex Singleton.
Yeah, and you need about, I don't know, what is it, probably 100 of those at 5 yards before you can get to that 180-yarder.
You mean it doesn't happen every week?
It doesn't happen every week. No, that's not what they call it in the huddle. Like, let's do that 80-yard play we have.
I think the biggest question out of last week is, why did he only get one carry when he had 80 on one?
Exactly.
Williams Lambert far side, and he gets to the first down stick.
One thing Saskatchewan did, Chris, in the second half of that game last week was they went with these hitch plays in the run game. And they remember the throw and touchdown to Naaman Roosevelt where they faked the hitch like that and went over the top for a touchdown against Hamilton. So that's how you sort of progress in the playbook. Get the defense for Calgary to get closer to the line of scrimmage with the run, closer on those little screens and bubble screens, and then throw one over the top.
Williams Lambert, 3 second down conversion catches last week, gets one there. First down 45. Back to Thigpen. And he has maybe a couple.
But again, this defense is so disciplined. I mean, that's the one thing in talking to Devon Claybrooks before the game. It's funny you throw out the question, well, what is the key to success? He said, first of all, it's 12 men, not individuals, 12 men working together. Everyone understands their assignment. If they don't understand their assignment, then they're not on the field. It's simple as that. And I don't care what the resume looks like. So they understand their assignments, they make sure they're in their spots, and then the game comes to them.
That defense has not allowed more than 8 points in the second half in any game this year. There's another second down conversion catch and a beauty for Naaman Roosevelt.
Roosevelt running the curl on Trey Roberson, and good timing on the throw because blitz was coming down the middle, and you know that Brandon Bridge could feel that, but he got it out there to Naaman Roosevelt for the first down.
Sure-handed Roosevelt, 21st in the league. The Roughriders without a receiver in the top 20 coming into the week. So just beyond midfield, inching into Calgary territory. Fake to thick pen, little sidearm, and there goes Roosevelt again. And he gets chopped down at the 40-yard line. Ciante Evans takes down Roosevelt, and he's a little slow to get up after that.
Yeah, it landed right on the top of his head. He got the legs cut out from underneath him. What a play fake by Brandon Bridge. Take a look at what happens. He goes right over and lands right, jams the neck a little bit. They're going to have to take a look at him on the sideline. Go through the protocol, make sure the neck's okay. There's no concussion symptoms.
At the 6th play of this drive, Caleb Hawley
just tried to turn out of there before he had secured the ball. That's even at the pro level, that helps, or that happens, where you just lose your concentration because you're trying to make your first move in the open field just prior to catching the football.
Takes a peek up at the scoreboard to see what he did wrong.
Yeah.
2nd and 10. And Deron Carter in this offensive formation to the near side, and Bridge throws it into the turf. Thigpen was there, and right alongside him was Derek Wigan.
Yeah, we've seen Jagara Davis, Micah Johnson sniff out these screen plays, and that defensive line has taken turns just through video study and understanding what they like to do, not necessarily always getting upfield in their pass rush moves. If they feel like that screen's coming, they've sniffed it out very nicely for the most part tonight. That time it was Derek Wigan's turn.
Lowthers made it from 56. This is a chip shot from 49. Up. Money. 24-16. They battle back to make it a one-score lead for Calgary. Cole Levi Mitchell got off to the hot start. That connection to Mark and Michelle, a touchdown for Eric Rogers. But suddenly it's 24-16. Calgary on deck when we come back.
Join us for our Legacy Night on August 4th, presented by First Calgary Financial. Get your tickets today at Stampeders.com.
Stampeders with the lead now, just 16 straight points for Saskatchewan. Roughrider fans feeling it. Last 4 possessions, 3 punts and the pick 6. But here's the completion to Kamar Jordan. And up across the 45-yard line, a first down to get this kick started for Calgary.
Yeah, one of the adjustments that Dave Dickinson may make here with Bo Levi Mitchell is to run some of those out cuts. Kamar Jordan, Tavares Daniels, Eric Rogers on those out cuts, because right now Saskatchewan keeps their DBs in the bunch, and as they break the huddle, they go and try and get to their matchups and where they're going to line up. As they're doing that, they're staying inside hard so those out cuts can be open.
Just 20 yards rushing so far. Here's Morris, and he's driven back. Ball came loose, and do the Roughriders have it? Looks like Calgary got it back. And it's Derek Dennis, who was wearing green and white last year, that saves the day.
Let's see what happens here and how that ball is ripped out of there. Zach Evans. Boy, tough to even see where the ball ends up here. There, it's on the ground. You're right. It's on the turf.
And Samuel Glavin had a shot at it.
Tried to pick it up rather than just fall on it.
Didn't pounce on it. Second and long. Pocket collapsing, and down goes Bo Levi Mitchell. And Charleston Hughes has double dipped. 8 sacks on the year now.
Surfs up, Charleston Hughes.
Sack trick already this year, and he's within one of another.
Well, he called the early one off the top of your screen. He gets double and triple teamed here, keeps battling through that, and gets to Bo Levi Mitchell.
5 2-and-outs for Calgary in this game. Christian Jones. Flag comes down. Tackle made by Caron. But the Roughriders, led by a former Stampeder, have the momentum. They continue to chop wood. A lot of teams use defensive signs to send in the next series for Calgary. Well, there's Baywatch.
No. Yep.
There's the guy from Goonies. And there's another guy from Goonies. No, wait a minute. That's our spotter, Larry Mueller. Here's Larry, our longtime spotter in the booth. And just down the hall in a booth is running back coach for the Calgary Stampeders, his son Mark Mueller, the brighter football mind in the family. But Larry has just gone to superstar status with that signage. I don't know if that means all-out blitz or not, but we might find out.
Which one was the Goonies again?
I don't think it was the last guy, but it might have been. Well, that defensive call worked. Emmanuel Davis, who's been terrific in his first year as a Stampeder.
Comes Deron Carter on second down. I was wondering how much more we may see of Deron Carter offensively with Naaman Roosevelt out. And there's another Goonies call. Sorry, Larry.
It's a Larry defense here. I bet that defense would rather have the Baywatch call.
Yeah,
but
I would say, but
let's see if they send the house. With the Mueller card up, it's 2nd and 12. And Brandon Bridge not going anywhere. Dropped behind the line of scrimmage. Garrett Davis is there, and it will be 3rd down.
Well, you know, when you got the Calgary Stampeders front four, you don't have to send the house on 2nd and long. And that's what's so tough about this defense and playing against it. Trying to find a way to beat it is because Jagarrett Davis, Micah Johnson, Derek Wigan up front. I mean, these guys with just 4 get pressure on the quarterback, getting them running around back there, and they've dropped everybody else into coverage.
That Mueller card worked that time.
It sure did.
Bartell, he screamed that one.
That hit somebody
like one of my drives. A worm burner, and it's coughed up. Who's got it? Roughriders think they've got it. And the battle for the football continues. Looked like a Calgary Stampeder had a first shot to get it after it was initially coughed up, but there's Ed Geedy springing out of the pile with the football. The referee's still looking for it. Geedy says it's over here, guys.
I got it. They were still looking in the pile there.
Well, the Stampeders led by 24. Turnovers now 2 apiece after the fumble by Terry Williams.
I think it was Alexander Chevrier who got his hand on this to knock it out. So bouncing back from missing that lane on the long return for a touchdown by Calgary.
Best field position starting at David Watford on that quarterback option. runs for a first down on his first play of this game. Out at the Stampeder 28-yard line.
Yeah, actually, Brandon Bridge went onto the field in that break while they were reviewing the turnover, which happens automatically, and then came off, and Watford went in. So it looked like Chris Jones just sort of halfway through the process thought, let's give David Watford a series here.
13 yards. He has 84 rushing yards on the season. Last week, a couple of drives against Hamilton. It was 2 for 3 for 13.
You change your strategy a little bit if you're a Calgary defender, especially in the front seven. You got to make sure you got the edges.
Well, he's going to roll out now, throw downfield, and that was incomplete, but closest man to the football was Jamar Wall. There's Durant Carter, who has been taking some turns on offense here late in the second quarter and now here in the third.
Yeah, David Watford's passing numbers not real impressive. 48% completion percentage, a couple of interceptions to 1 touchdown. Does run the ball well, as you mentioned.
And he comes to the sidelines, bridge back in. On 2nd and 10. Play clock winding down here. They don't get it off.
No.
You could tell when they broke the huddle that there wasn't a sense of urgency.
5-yard penalty. Remains 2nd down.
So they back off 5, 2nd and 15. From the pocket, they'll throw that screen to Messam. Had a little trouble getting the handle, but then gets bumped down at the 25-yard line. It'll be short of the first down. And it will be Brett Lowther time once again.
That was Micah Johnson on the backside coming all the way across the field to get this hit on Jerome Messam. Didn't have the live mics on tonight, but been interesting to hear Coach Jones on that last, after that time count. Although a lot of it might have had to been edited or beat
from 32 out. Lowther good again. They're chipping away. Now down by 5. Welcome back to Mosaic, and on the sidelines, here's Claire Hanna.
Well, we have a special announcement to make. Jason Delasoy, who's just here over my shoulder, has been with CFL and TSN since 2003. And just last week, on Thursday, he and his partner, Kristen, welcomed their very first child to the world, Maxwell Elliott Delasoy. Entered the world at 8 pounds, 7 ounces. It's, of course, his first child. Now, Jason's been such a huge, integral part to the CFL and TSN team. He's just always positive. He's always giving a helping hand to the whole crew. And his partner, Kristen's grandfather, Ron Folk, is here in the crowd. And you might be seeing him holding a special photo of Maxwell. But we just want to say a big congratulations to Jason and Kristen.
Yeah, it's great stuff. Maxwell looks better on camera than behind the camera, doesn't he? Here's Lamar Durant. And first down across midfield. And for many years, Jason worked alongside Lee Jones.
Yeah.
And how about this? Same week, our congratulations on the arrival of Remy Theodore Jones. And Dad says there's a future linebacker in his arms.
Yeah, I saw the tweet with that picture. It said, I'm really tired. And I'm saying to Lee, hey, Marnell did all the work.
Congrats to both families.
Yep.
That's super. Stamps trying to get something going here again, and it's Tavares Daniels with a big run. And Calgary, with a late flag coming down, has surged into Rough Rider territory. And is this going against Durant Carter? Mike Edom a little slow to get up.
There'll be yards tacked on here. Duron Carter with the face mask penalty, and just like that, Calgary Stampeders got something going here offensively. Lamar Durant got it started. There's see if he does get the face mask.
Major foul, face mask. Saskatchewan, number 89. 15 yards at the end of the play. First down.
Stampeders without points since late in the opening quarter. The second quarter without a point, just the fifth quarter out of 27 so far this season complete that they failed to score. Well, they're knocking at the door here. First down at the Roughrider 23. Trying to reestablish a 2-score lead. And the handoff to Morris. Left side, nothing doing. That's Toby Antigua busting up that play.
Real late flag. On the very opposite side of the field. It looks like it's going against Calgary.
Illegal block, Calgary, number 15. Penalties decline. Play results, second down.
So the Eric Rogers infraction declined because of the Toby Antigua tackle for a loss. Second and 12. It was Eric Rogers the last time they were down here, and it's been Eric Rogers a lot in this vicinity. Time running out. Clears it out, and it's intercepted. That's Creston Butler, his first pro interception. There is a flag down, however.
Yeah, that's the question. Is this interception going to stand? Javon Johnson was in coverage on Davaris Daniels.
Illegal contact on the receiver, Saskatchewan, number 2. There's a 10-yard penalty. It will remain second down.
Penalty against the 12-year vet, Javon Johnson.
It's incidental contact, I think. Here's the matchup right here. And you're going to see Davaris Daniels try and go to the post corner. So he goes inside release, and now he's going to cut out back to the outside to the corner and watch the legs get tangled up. He goes down because of it. That's accidental pass interference or illegal contact. If the ball's not thrown to him, it wasn't. So it keeps the drive alive and takes the pick away from Creston Butler.
That's a big penalty. Keeps Mitchell on the field. Red zone Stampeders. Second and 2. Going to throw into the end zone. Touchdown, Davaris Daniels. 15-yard touchdown strike, and Daniels has his second major.
A bust in the Saskatchewan secondary and the coverage responsibilities to that side. And because Levi Mitchell has time back there, he can wait for his receiver in Davaris Daniels to open up.
Third touchdown pass of the game for Mitchell. A touchdown pass in each game so far this season. And they're 2 for 2 in the red zone. 5 plays, 75 yards. Couple of key Rough Rider penalties. And Paredes remains perfect on converts this year. So the Notre Dame star hits pay dirt. And it's 31-19 for the Stampeders.
There's Davaris Daniels right there. Now Dave Dickinson brings it back out of the backfield, and watch how Morris affects the coverage. 2 Saskatchewan Roughriders right, stop it there, are going to take him. They both come up here and take the running back, and Daniels on the corner is going to be wide open. That's not Ed Gainey's responsibility. He just followed the football. It was between Javon Johnson and in chase, I believe it was Creston Butler on that side, but they both jumped the back. Davaris Daniels got in behind him.
Well, they've been spinning their tires for over a quarter. But with just under 3 minutes left in the third quarter, the Stampeders a breakthrough. First touchdown in 6 possessions. Trey Mason just reaches the 25 on that return. Former University of Saskatchewan product Charlie Power, part of the welcoming committee on that tackle.
Just wanted to show you these guys up front because we talked a little bit about Charleston Hughes tonight, and now they win one because Bo Levi Mitchell had to wait a second to get this out. See how he pump fakes it there a couple times, but no pressure at all. And Saskatchewan sends Sam Hurl on the blitz as well. So guys up front did their job in a key moment of the football game to get that offense going and back in the end zone.
Start on the ground here, not much for Thigpen. Boy, Micah Johnson just shines game in and game out, dominating that line of scrimmage.
There's a lot of great defensive tackles in the game right now, but he's the #1 on the list. Just almost impossible to block, and he has the pass rush moves of a defensive end, yet he plays inside. Can take on the double team and often has to.
Second and 9. And here's Thigpen. Got a first down. And gets bumped out around the 41-yard line.
Working the flat and the doubles and the bubble screens, but with 1:51 left in the third, Saskatchewan's going to need more out of their offense.
That 16-yard gain gets Bridge over 100 yards passing here tonight. Big Messam, big hole, and a first down run. Roberson the tackle at the end along with Brandon Smith. But Messam chugs up to the 52.
Question is, in some cases, I think with Saskatchewan and their quarterback situation, Zach Caleros still not available. With Brandon Bridge, is the play calling changed drastically from when Zach Caleros was running the offense for Brandon Bridge? Because a lot of the running game, a lot of the bubble screens, and at 31-19, you're going to have to cut him loose at some point. Zach Caleros up watching from the press box.
First down, Messam again. And he gets to midfield, so 3 more for Big Jerome.
Deron Carter back on the field in the 2nd and long.
Closing in on a little piece of CFL Canadian history as he heads to the sidelines. 4 100-yard games in the last 5 matchups between these two teams, but he did that for Calgary. Second down, Bridge underneath and incomplete. Caleb Hawley had to reach back a little behind him and couldn't make the play. That's the final play of the third quarter. Roughriders were closing in. Toby Bantiga off the toe of Brett Lowther, but Bo Levi Mitchell with a connection to Daniels, 31-19. Roughriders got it within 5, but it is a 12-point Stampeder lead as we head to the fourth quarter.
Yeah, when you look at all the numbers, you would think that this was a defensive battle, and that's what we thought it was going to be coming in, and it's really been that. But then it's 31-19. Of course, 14 of the points for the Calgary Stampeders off of turnovers in that first quarter. They got that early start, and since then it has been defense.
And a costly defensive penalty by the Roughriders takes an interception off the board, and a couple plays later, Calgary's got their 2-score lead again. What kind of adjustments offensively does Saskatchewan have to make here in the fourth.
Well, if they have double moves off those bubble screens that run into the receivers, now's the time.
Third down at midfield, and Bartell to punt. With Williams back. Again, Terry Williams, a fumble on the last return, has a punt return touchdown in the game. Excuse me, it's Markin Michel back this time. And Michel with some speed up to the 24, dragged down by Samuel LeGuavin. Well, trying to win his 6th straight, 5 in a row once again for Bo Levi Mitchell, which has become routine, his 5th different 5-game win streak, and that puts him once again in very select company.
Well, the numbers just keep adding up for Bo Levi Mitchell, and so do the wins keep piling up, and that's at every level.
Big drive here that might put this thing away. Morris, short gain, and Roughriders trying to get it right back and get back in the game.
Sorry, Chris. High school championship at Katy, Texas. Eastern Washington national champion in 2010. Walter Payton Award. Cup MVP in 14. I mean, is there a trophy that he hasn't won yet? Although you go back to the last 2 Grey Cups, they want to get back there and take another crack at it.
Played hurt last week, says it's felt better this week. A handoff that's not going anywhere. Elam part of it. Eddie Steele is there. The 2-and-out that the Roughriders were looking for, they get.
Yeah, they're that much more important when you've got the opposition backed up into their own end. So from the 25-yard line, Dickinson was looking for a couple of first downs at the very least just to get that field position advantage back. Didn't get it.
Not the 5th 2-and-out of the game for Calgary. Rob Maver. Jones runs up on this at the 46 and gets nailed at the 50. Decent field position for the Roughriders, down by 12 with 13 to go. Team starting stretches against the West. Next game for the Roughriders at Commonwealth on August the 2nd. Pass flared out in to the flat end. It's Devon Bailey with a catch.
You just get the feeling, don't you, Chris, that I just don't see a full playbook available to Brandon Bridge. I just, you know, I see these bubble screens, the run game. I just don't see him on the roll, getting outside off the tackles, looking for that intermediate to deep.
Yeah, they haven't
level.
attacked vertically for sure tonight.
Now, you need time to do that, I get it, but it just doesn't look like he's got the full playbook.
They've got Duron Carter, maybe a chance to take the shot, and he missed underneath. Trying to connect with Josh Stanford.
Again, it's, you know, it's crossing routes and bubble screens kind of thing.
And there's a couple of incompletions on the last 2 series in that same short yardage range.
Exactly. You know, they try and get 4 or 5 on first down. It's, you know, and I don't know this for a fact. Only they know in their offensive meetings. But it's almost like Brandon Bridge isn't able. They're not just cutting them loose to go ahead and try and make something happen, create to that intermediate range or the deep ball.
Michel again, 33-yard punt, brings it back to the 23-yard line. Down to 12:01 remaining. Don't miss the groundbreaking drama from HBO and the director of Big Little Lies, Sharp Objects. Sundays at 9 Eastern, only on HBO Canada.
Hold on. We've got a serious issue.
That's an issue.
Thank you very much. Have a good day.
Hey, first of all, you got to keep working on your game in that bar now, because that was not very good pouring technique.
Let's see how Mitchell pours on this series. Well, he hands it off. straight ahead, and Calgary's gotten a little conservative here, haven't they, offensively?
Well, grinding down the game now with the lead, trying to get that success on first down, and the crowd trying to poke him a little bit, number 19. Notice the Grey Cups over the last couple of years. But they hang on to this lead. They improve to 6-0, and they start running away with the division.
Just 20 rush yards in the game for Calgary. Drop this off underneath, and Samuel Aguavin sniffed that out.
You know, and it's funny. Like every game is its own journey, and Bo hasn't put up big numbers as far as passing yards, but he's got the 3 touchdowns because he took advantage of the sudden change opportunities he had in the first quarter. I mean, that's the most important aspect of the game. When you have your opportunities, take full advantage of them. It doesn't really matter what the numbers look like at the end of the day, except for one, and that's the win column.
Net of 181 yards of offense so far tonight for Calgary, but they lead by a dozen. Maver just got it off. Was that tipped? As the ball spins to the Calgary 50, the flags come down, and Sam Hurl nearly had a huge punt block. Did he get a hand on it?
Yep.
Yes, he did. That should negate the no yards penalty. Welcome back to Mosaic. Sellout crowd. Still have hope with 10:31 to go. The Riders' second start this half on the Stampeder side of the field. They start at the 45. And you see Duron Carter break the huddle. See if Brandon Bridge gets a little more aggressive with Trey Mason in behind. They fake to Mason. Flag came down. Williams Lambert, the catch out at the 42. So that's just 3 yards as they continue those short range passes.
And now an offside against Saskatchewan, going to push him back.
Offside, Saskatchewan, number 1. 5-yard penalty, remains first down.
Shaq Evans guilty there.
So 1st and 15.
Again, that was a push route. I mean, now Calgary basically sits on it. They're saying go ahead and throw that. I mean, we've got a lead. If you're Calgary Stampeder, you're saying throw that 2-yard push route or the bubble screen or that 3 or 4 yard crosser, and the team will rally and make the tackle. I mean, that's what they've been doing all night.
Is Calgary going to decline the penalty? I wondered if they might. It's going to be 2nd and 7 instead of 1st and 15.
Well, I mean, this is a good decision based on what Dave Dickinson is watching from the offense for Saskatchewan on those routes I just mentioned. Why not put them in 2nd and 7, get your defense to make that tackle on a 3-yard completion and get off the field.
When they moved it back 5, the only rationale I was thinking of is maybe getting it out of field goal range, but at this point they don't want to give them an extra play, and it's 2nd and 7. And it's Mason running on 2nd and 7. Yeah, that's not going anywhere. But the 39, well short. Fans don't like that play call. Junior Turner on the tackle. There are a lot of outspoken offensive coordinators watching this one.
Yeah, I'm not surprised, and I've made note of it. Now they're going to kick the field, which I think this is right with this amount of time left. This is the right decision to go ahead and get the 3. But this is not a chip shot either.
This at the other end of the field from Lowther. Doesn't matter, does it? Money again, 47 yards out. 31-22. Just under 9.5 remaining. And in the crowd is Claire Hanna with a special guest.
Thanks, CC. And I've tracked down 2-time breakup champion Nick Lewis. And Nick, you recently retired with the Calgary Stampeders. Congratulations. What's it like to watch from the stands right now your former team play?
It's good. Got a lot of former teammates on the field with Duron and Charleston on one side. And then the Calgary Stampeders in town. Great atmosphere. It's loud. I'm loving it. I'm glad I'm not taking the hits anymore.
What are your plans coming out of in retirement? And is there any chance we might see you back on the field?
No chance on the field, but on the sidelines probably next year. I plan on getting back into coaching and doing that. So.
Very cool. What aspect of coaching?
I would like to coach receivers or offense somewhere and back in the CFL and just have fun with it. But right now, it's good to enjoy the game, stay close to the game, and support these great players.
Thanks very much, Nick.
Thank you.
Yeah, it'd be good to get him on the sidelines, huh?
Yeah, absolutely.
Amps up here, 2nd and 10. Mitchell throws underneath, and that'll be short of the first down. Geaney hauling down Kamar Jordan. There is a flag. And it's in the secondary, but looks like it's going against Calgary.
Kamar Jordan is going to, first of all, he's the guy running this crossing route. But they have a couple of deep options. It just looked like Bo Levi Mitchell.
Illegal block. Calgary, number 15. Penalties declined. 3rd down.
Mitchell just ran out of time to get it deep down the field or deeper. So he hits that crossing route.
So that's 3 straight 2-and-outs for Calgary. 5 of their last 7 possessions have gone 2-and-out. Stuck in the mud, but still up by 9 points in the game. Maver sails this. Jones backpedals to his 15. That's a 53-yard punt. Jones brings it back 11. And Pierre-Luc Caron with another special teams tackle.
Good kick by Maver to.
Was a flag back at the line of scrimmage.
Let's see if they're going to. Goes against Calgary. They make him kick it again.
If not, block, hands to the face, Saskatchewan, number 92, while the ball was in flight. 10-yard penalty, 1st down.
Now that'll be tacked on to the return then, and now it'll deeper
Zach
hole.
Evans,
so
yeah.
that's a big kick by Maver. I mean, in their own end, gets it out of there. Remember, he had the last one partially blocked. So he got rid of that and launched one, and now Saskatchewan deep in their own end.
So 53 points in the game, and yet it has been a hard-fought defensive battle. The offenses haven't got a lot done, but as you mentioned, Calgary's done it opportunistically. Deepest field position start for Saskatchewan. Back at their 7. Thigpen trying to get to the edge. Flag comes down. He gets dragged down at the 13. Wall the tackle.
And it's coming back.
Yep.
It was a holding. Jaguar Davis got up and.
Eddie Steele.
Holding. Saskatchewan, number 68. Half distance to goal remains. 1st down.
Thaddeus Coleman, the right tackle. Eddie Steele has checked in along with Spencer Moore and Trey Mason. So Max Protect here, and do they buy some time to load one up?
Take a shot. Problem with Max Protect is you're taking receivers out of the route, so the Riders only have 3 against 5, maybe 6 defenders.
And they hand it off to Mason inside. Not a popular play call.
Nope, not at all.
And the Stampeder defense was conducting the chorus here, sensing the boos from the Mosaic crowd.
Well, the penalty, because it was inside the 10, was half the distance, so it didn't hurt them a lot in yardage. But now Brandon Bridge has to be careful. He drops back in his own end zone. He can give up a safety if he can't get it out of there. And a 2-yard crosser is not going to get it done.
7 for 21 on 2nd down conversions. Bridge tried to take off, but he is caught there. It's Jaguar Davis making another defensive play for the Stampeders. And the punt team has to come on. Fifth tackle of the game for Davis. So Markin Michel awaits at midfield. 9-point game. Do you
think you got to kick it away because
not wanting to make it 11, although that effectively still is a touchdown and a field goal.
Yeah, 9 points. Yeah, they're gonna, the way his defense been playing.
They do boot it. Michel, midfield, 45-yard punt. He's got outside. That there is a flag, and it's going to bring it back with Michel streaking down the sidelines. But the penalty flag back around the 50-yard line.
You know, when you do the math there, Chris, you're 9 down. Your punt from your own end zone.
During the return, holding, Calgary, number 88, 10-yard penalty, first down, Calgary.
You want to, if you're going to kick it out, you're saying your defense, now they got a chance now because of the penalty, but you're saying your defense doesn't want to give up that touchdown and then field goal. Dave Dickinson didn't like the call, meanwhile.
And so the strategy works because they get a decent punt and the return negated by the penalty. First down or two would get them into field goal range.
And the Sask defense has created a couple of 2-and-outs in a row here, so that's involved in the strategy as well.
And it's been a very conservative second half offensively for both teams.
Yeah, I mean, that's good play calling for Dickinson. I mean, the run and the crossers for Calgary make sense because if one guy breaks a tackle, you stay on the field, you move the chains, you kill the clock, you run it down. A running play keeps the clock rolling, as you know. But if you're down by 9, those crossers and things, that's what the fans are upset about here tonight.
Statistician Dave Moyer tells us 64 yards of offense for Calgary here in the second half. There's a quick hitter and a tackle was broken, brought down at the 50. That's going to be short of the first down, but Tavares Daniels close enough to give Dave Dickinson a confidence about a gamble here, I think, on third down. Mike Edom, the Roughriders safety, shaking up on the play.
Full blitz from Saskatchewan, so you take that quick hot. If you're Bo Levi Mitchell, which he does, makes one guy miss, gets right to the marker, not quite across it.
Sure tackle by Matt Elam, the newcomer, replacing Moncrief at the Sam linebacker spot. So third and about 1 for Calgary, maybe a little less.
Like Daniels had the first down, and I think Dave Dickinson was arguing that his forward progress on the spin route had the first down, although inside of a yard, it takes another play. You should be able to get this offensively when the defense is a yard off the ball.
Not a good sign for Edom. Marc-Olivier Brouillette is in the game at safety as a replacement. And personnel being changed out by Chris Jones here. Seems to be a little bit of confusion here. On 3rd and a yard. Arbuckle and the short yardage team for Calgary, left side. And he's got a good surge. Got the first down and an extra yard or two behind Sean Bergman, one of the best run blocking guards in the league.
Got a yard or two and about 18 seconds off the clock as they try to grind this game down and go back to the run, I'm sure.
Just the 10th first down of the game. And first in the quarter for Calgary. But working the clock now. There's Morris. And Morris almost busted it. Just holding on was Charleston Hughes to save a touchdown.
Well, you know, we've seen him surfing a couple of times tonight. This time he crosses all the way across the field and gets from behind, and then watch as Morris just drags him. A couple of surfs, he hit the wave perfectly, and a couple of times the wave gets the best of you and you're in the surf getting thrown around a little bit. 20-plus yard run.
Remember the old tearaway jerseys? That would have been a touchdown for the guy with 4.3 speed. Big first down into field goal range, and now Mitchell will swing it out. Catch by Jordan. As we will have one more play before the warning. No gain there. 2nd and 10. Field goal range to make it a 12-point lead. Calgary 3 for 14 on 2nd down conversions tonight. Mitchell rolls, throws, complete to the fullback. Longley fumbled it, and Preston Butler's got it. So the Roughriders still have some life here with 2:37 on the clock. They get a takeaway. And I think that puts Chris Jones's team +1 tonight. Longley separated from the football by Cameron Judd. All turnovers or potential turnovers are reviewed. This one is under review. Did he have control or not? I think when he tried to tuck it, it was coming loose prior to contact.
After review by the command center, the play has been overturned to an incomplete pass. It's 3rd and 10 from the 28-yard line for Calgary.
And a reprieve for Longley, a reprieve for the Stampeders.
You know, when you see this in regular motion, just in live motion, it happens so quickly as he turns. You don't have to tuck the ball under your arm, Chris, to constitute control of the ball. You can have it in your hands and be doing that. They felt he never ever controlled it long enough.
And it brings Paredes on. Trying to force Saskatchewan to need 2 touchdowns, and he's good. 34-22. 2018 MLS All-Star Game comes your way Wednesday. Best of MLS face-off against legendary Juventus. Action gets underway 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific across the TSN network. .221 to go, so there is time. But now the home side needs a pair of majors. And with that time on the clock, they got to get more aggressive than we've seen in the second half.
Well, especially after the field goal, now 2 majors necessary, and offense hasn't exactly been pushing the ball down the field. And remember, Duron Carter in this second half, which is probably their best deep threat since we haven't seen Naaman Roosevelt return. He's been playing both ways.
Teams have combined for 432 yards of offense tonight. Neither team has really had anything going. Whoops, Trey Mason forgot something. And just beyond the 20-yard line on the return, so another long field. Charlie Power in on the tackle. Brandon Bridge doesn't have much time and needs a lot to happen. 113 passing yards tonight.
Hamilton made it interesting before our game in the last 2 minutes.
Marched the field, got it back, got it down deep, and then back-to-back sacks ended that. Big pin in the backfield. Bridge, and a catch made there by Stanford, his first grab of the game. 10 yards, first down. Or is it? They're going to rule it just inches short. And they'll sneak ahead. And that should move the chains.
I might have used that second down and go ahead and try some. I mean, you got to score twice. You can get it if you have to when you're inches away on third down. You might as well take a shot there.
Like somebody got hurt in the pile-up wearing Stampeder colors, and it's Micah Johnson who's going to have to leave for 3 plays. In fact, a couple of Stampeders down. Junior Turner also takes a knee. So Bonner's now up. He's got to leave. And is Junior Turner just taking a breath here as Micah Johnson is also going to have to leave the game.
Roughriders will come into the game, replace one of them. Johnson at the bottom of that pile. Bonner's up there. Looks like he got a stinger, grabbing the side of his neck and his left shoulder there.
So they've got Wigan, Turner. You're right, Marabere was out, but now goes back, the former Rough Rider, to the sidelines, and Folarin Orimolade will come into the game. Fresh set of downs. 5 receivers out. Quickly into the hands of Hawley. And up to the 49-yard line, another Rough Rider first down.
Now, as Brandon Bridge does push the ball now on this last drive, you know, he's going to have a lot of fence. And why didn't he do that all game? Now, Calgary's playing obviously a little, they backed off. They're going to play loose.
Pressure coming, and Orimolade gets home. That's his first Canadian Football League sack.
Did they find another D lineman? Orimolade with just a bull rush. Nice.
Took
Wow.
Coleman right to Bridge and chalks one up.
Put Thaddeus Coleman on his roller skates there.
Loss of 8 on the play. 2nd and 18, 3 down football for the Rough Riders. Flag coming down into the hands of Stanford. And he gets belted at the 46.
Orimolade again drew the holding call. He gets double teamed on a spin move this time after the bull rush and comes back with a spin move. He spun right into the double team, but they ended up holding him.
The John Huffnagel pipeline.
Illegal contact on a receiver. Calgary number 95. Holding. Saskatchewan number 66. These penalties will offset. We'll replay the down.
Yeah, Bladek was the second man on the double team with Coleman.
But an illegal contact.
I didn't see that one down the field, but
so 2nd down, 17. They'll play the down over. 3-man rush. A completion to Duron Carter. That's his first catch in 3 weeks. And another completion underneath that doesn't even get back to the original line of scrimmage. Now 3rd down.
it'll be interesting when Nick Marshall returns, the corner that was injured and the reason that Duron Carter was moved to defense in the first place. He's back in a couple of weeks, they're saying. When Nick Marshall comes back, who started at that corner spot, does Chris Jones stick with Duron Carter over there and try to play Nick Marshall somewhere else, or is he put him back on defense? I think this province would like, or excuse me, on offense. I think the province would like to see him on offense.
Calgary next week, home against the BC Lions.
And no official word on how quickly Zach Collaros could get back. Sort of up and down still was the last report. Improving,
but the type of injury that never is and should be rushed.
No, well, absolutely not. They're not going to do that, and especially with Zach's, he's got a bit of an injury history, and he's going to be very careful to make sure he doesn't come back too soon.
So here we go, third and a little more than 10. They're going to load it up, and the ball is dropped. He was on target, and Shaq Evans can't hang on in Calgary territory, and that's going to do it. Stampeders are going to remain perfect. As we update the West standings, 6-0. Eskimos and Bombers win this week as well. The Roughriders will not be able to keep pace.
Well, this was a real test for Saskatchewan, and going into it, this is the best team in the league. Dave Dickinson's 5-0 team coming in, and Chris Jones is going to find out where he's at, what he's got to work on, how far away are they from being a competitive team in the West Division.
A night when Calgary hasn't had much going offensively for the second, or actually the final 3 quarters.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I mean, there's their 6-0 starts and what happened. You see how many Grey Cup appearances they made.
Did go 7-0 in 95. We'll try and match that next week.
But
BC.
I think what Chris Jones learned playing against this team is that he has a very good defense. With Christian Jones, I think his special team return game is there, but they gave up a return for a touchdown with Terry Williams. And offensively, got to make some decisions. Either cut Brandon Bridge loose and let him go play, or play another quarterback, I would say. I mean, I'm not sure there's any other choice.
Well, the Calgary Stampeders are going to chalk up another win and maybe not be entirely delighted with their performance for the second straight week. They weren't tough critiquing wins in this league when you keep chalking them up.
Yeah.
But
never boo a home run, partner. Hey, you find a way, and Bo Levi Mitchell, he took advantage of the turnovers early, the great field position early. Didn't put up big numbers, but it won't matter to him because he had the 3 touchdown throws, the return for a touchdown, got the big lead, and held on to it.
Mitchell with 187 yards passing in the game tonight. Had 166 when he came out of the game injured in Ottawa. A knee down. They're 6-0. 24 first quarter points turned out to be enough for Dave Dickinson and the Stampeders. Time now for the Nissan Titan Player of the Game, brought to you by the Nissan Titan, official vehicle of the Canadian Football League.
I think the way they've been playing, this has been a long time coming to give the Nissan Titan Player of the Game to the entire Calgary Stampeder defense and Devon Claybrooks, the leader of that defense as a defensive coordinator. Whenever it was their turn, whether it was the secondary, D-line, or linebackers, they all stepped up and made the plays necessary and just did not let Saskatchewan get going offensively at all.
Well, the Roughriders did get a defensive touchdown and scored over 20 the first time that Calgary surrendered more than 20 points this year, but another brilliant defensive performance and 3 touchdown passes for Bo Levi Mitchell in the game. A reminder, Red Blacks Argos, Roughriders Eskimos kick off next week in the Canadian Football League. Final score tonight, 34-22. The Stamps are 6-0. So long from Mosaic.
Welcome to SportsCenter with Laura and Derek, and it looked like we are going to have a big blowout in our hands.
Oh, man.
24-0 game after the first quarter, but props to the Riders, although they did come up short. Giving them a run for their money there, but the Stampeders still perfect. out.
Yeah, some bad luck for the Riders in the beginning of this game, and Calgary's a team you cannot afford to have any bad luck against. Let's look at the highlights, and yeah, it was super quickly in Calgary's favor. They're 5-0 coming into this game, their best start in 20 years, more than 20 years. After an early Rider fumble, Bo Levi Mitchell, first play, Markin Michel, 41-yard touchdown, and now is the time when we dance. 7-zip Stamps. Still in the first. Terry Williams to return the punt.
From the 32, 46-yard punt, and a big return. Terry Williams running away, and he will score. A silencer for Williams, and it's 16-0 Calgary.
Williams, 78 yards. Calgary lead the league with a +13 turnover ratio, +14 with Micah Johnson's strip of Jerome Messam. And then 4 plays later, Mitchell to Eric Rogers. They led 24-0 after a quarter. They had 84 yards of offense. That was all they needed because of the turnovers. Riders looking for a spark, and they get it. It's Toby Antigua dropping into coverage. They'll put their little chess pieces anywhere, won't they? 52 yards down the sideline for the score. The defensive end deep in coverage. Mitchell gets a look at the tablet while Gaynor finally got something to cheer about. Of course, Charleston Hughes, 10 seasons in Calgary, facing his former team, getting his former quarterback. League-leading 7th sack of the season. The Riders, they were clawing back, down 24-13 at the break. Third, Mitchell to DeVaris Daniels for the touchdown. Stamps with a 12-point lead at that point, and the Riders would not come much closer back. It would finish 34-22 is the final. Only the second time this season Calgary has reached the 30-point mark in a game. Last time they were 6-0, it was all the way back in 1995. Doug Flutie led them to a 7-0 start that season. They went to the Grey Cup and ended up losing to the Baltimore Stallions. Take you back to the stadium in Saskatchewan now. Claire Hanna alongside winning quarterback Bo Levi Mitchell.
Bo Levi Mitchell, you and the Stampeders remain the only undefeated team in the CFL. You improved to 6-0. How would you assess the win tonight?
Gritty. You know, it's a tough game. We know it's a great defense. You know, it's kind of the way you get a win against these guys. You're gonna have, you know, some bad plays, you're gonna have some good plays, but it's controlled chaos over there on their side of the ball. So as long as you see it, pick it up, some things, good things can happen. But we got help from the special team defense early on. Got out to a great lead, but you know, obviously I think we relaxed a little bit, and you know, we didn't move the ball in the second quarter, and they got some points on us, and obviously I gave up the pick 6. So definitely some things we can improve on.
3 different receivers scored touchdowns in the game tonight. Did you feel like you were spreading things out, and how were things working for you on offense?
Yeah, I just take what the defense gives me. I mean, Chris Jones is going to tell me where to throw the ball. You know, they got guys all over the field. Sometimes it's hard to tell where they're going to go, but you just sit out there and be patient, you can find a hole.
And finally, you're playing your former teammate Jerome Messam, but Charleston Hughes, I know you've played against him in practice thousands of times. What was it like seeing him on the other side of the field?
It was fun. We always, you know, talked about it last year and the last couple of years we played together. He would always talk about how he would get sacks on me, and I told him never. But yeah, he had 2 tonight, so hats off to him. He's old as hell and still making plays, so it's good for him.
Thanks, Bo.
Thank you.
Hey, Alex.
Bo has led Calgary to 6 different win streaks of at least 5 games in his career. Only 3 other quarterbacks have done it more. Anthony Calvillo, Ron Lancaster, Tracy Ham. That is nice elite company to be in. Speaking of elite company, let's go to Rod Smith.
Well, this had to be one of the highest scoring defensive games we've seen in a long time. Back with the panel of Jim Barker and Matt Dunnigan and Milt